sat down at St. Elizabeth A. in Seton, after I trying to figure out what I was going to do, what came to me is, and hopefully, God speaks to all of us in certain ways, was, all right, Tim, you've been building sales teams for the secular world. You're going to build one for me. And I had this vision, like, okay, how do you do that? How do you make money? How do you survive? How do you, all these questions. And through a whole myriad of things that have happened, things have just transpired and taken place. But I haven't been able to plug in personally. I've been setting up groups all over the United States. And I'd come and stay for a few days and meet a bunch of wonderful people like y'all, and I'd leave. They're like, man, that stinks. I have all these great friends that I've met for about a week, right? So the goal, just to be really succinct here, when I sat down and wrote the goals after reading this, and again, just bear with me, I'm kind of a sales guy, so I said, all right, or a marketing guy, so I said, all right, who's my prospects? And I said, all right, I got 3. My first one is the indifferent, lukewarm Catholics, like I was most of my life. Actually, I was probably a heathen, a pagan, because I just go to church and, drink all the time and party and, that kind of thing. So my first one is the indifferent, lukewarm Catholics. And I wrote this down like 5-6 years ago. I had heard nothing about the new evangelization. I didn't know anything about this kind of stuff. I just kind of wrote down, here's my market, lukewarm, indifferent. Second market, and by the way, there's 18,000 parishes in the United States. And about 70% of registered Catholics miss Mass on a regular basis. 95% miss all their obligations. So we can fish in those ponds for 100 years. Right? And that's really, and you guys, some of you know church documents better than me, I promise you. I'm here to learn. But I've read some and I've learned that that is the new evangelization's primary target. And I was like, oh, perfect. Wonderful. One problem. I go around and I ask pastors, and well-meaning pastors, I'm not saying it's their job to be like the marketing person, but I would ask them, what's the game plan? What is the game plan for the new evangelization? I've yet to hear one that was specific, that was targeted. I'm a target marketing guy, right? How are we going to reach them? Like even we did this event here at St. Francis. Well, if 70% of the registered Catholics don't go to Mass, how are they going to hear about this? If only 10% of people read the bulletin, they say it's less than that, I don't know. Well, then that's not a real good, that's one piece. Does that make sense? So I realized early on, again, outsider, marketing guy, wow, they don't know how to market. And that's one of the reasons the Fellowship Church has 40% of the kids and grandkids, because they understand marketing. Whether you like it or not, they understand marketing. They know how to meet people where they're at. So the second group of people that I thought we'd after is people who formally do not claim Christianity. And there's a big chunk of them that are spiritual but not religious, There's other ones that are just outright atheists or agnostics. And then the third group, and I don't mean in priority necessarily, but the third fish that we're kind of after is the people across the street at Gateway and Fellowship Church. They got 40% of the people that were baptized Catholic and left their church. Some people think that, and you might, by this an open forum, if you don't agree, that's fine. We can talk in charity. But some people think as long as my kids are going to church, that's fine. It doesn't matter where they go. And I just disagree with that completely. I think it's great. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great stepping stone. I'm not here to bash Fellowship Church at all. But obviously I think we should be out to, don't you think we should be out to bring them in here? To the phones of the faith? So the question becomes, what's the game plan? What's the game plan? Right? And what are we doing about it? And so with Jared, I'm just like, can't believe it, because he's like, hey Tim, next fall, we're putting together a whole evangelization team. We're going to do door-to-door. I mean, my partner, if you guys heard of Lighthouse Catholic Media?
Yes.
Okay, so my partner in ministry, they started Lighthouse. And he quit he's got 9, he lives in Chicago, he's got 9 kids. He was #1 in software for 8 years in Chicago, and he left his job a year ago to go full-time ministry. It's been amazing how we've tried to figure this out. But we are so fired up to genuinely go out to the community and lovingly, but truthfully evangelize.